Thank you very much for joining us today. I will start by, again, let me just open this fully so you can see this. Thank you. My name is Christopher Keaveney. I'm joined today by Professor Wen Liu and Mr. Jason E, who will be answering questions. So they're in the background there. And at any point during today's presentation, if you have questions, please go ahead and share them, and we'll have time at the end for questions as well. Again, my name is Christopher Keaveney, and I am a professor of the Humanities in the Global Liberal Arts program at Rikkyo University, and I also work for the Organization for Global Initiatives. It's my pleasure to welcome you here today to discuss what we call the Peace Program, or the three peace programs under the aegis of peace. And I'll start by getting started by talking a bit about Japan. You're here today because you recognize that Japan is a potential place for university studies. I want to talk a little bit about Japan, about Tokyo, and then we'll talk about the university and the programs proper. There are a number of advantages of studying in Japan, and again, you're familiar with these because you're here today. But just to sum up, we have a high level, high standard of education in Japan, and low tuition and living costs in general. That's true of all of the universities who are presenting today. We also have in Japan, as you well know, a unique culture, and that's true of both popular contemporary culture and also traditional culture. The Japanese have a special relationship with the environment as well, and it's living in Japan. The environment in Japan itself is one that's conducive to university life. It's a safe, clean a nation, fascinating, and the city of Tokyo, we'll be talking about in a moment, again, is among the safest large cities in the world. One thing about Japan that you're probably familiar with is that the cost of living compared to other developed nations is quite inexpensive compared to the United States in particular. We'll say two things. The university costs, private university, are considerably less expensive than other nations. I'm looking here at a chart that has United States, Australia, and Great Britain. And Japan is considerably less expensive in terms of tuition and also in terms of costs. Getting a meal, just eating out, is considerably less expensive. You can see the comparable prices here, and that is true at the university as well. In fact, we have three cafeterias at our main campus. We'll be talking about in a moment. And you can get a good meal for $3, which is considerably less expensive than would be in the States at private universities. The Japanese have a special relationship with the environment. Japan is a temperate climate, so we have four very distinct seasons. This is, of course, Fujisan, Mount Fuji, in all four seasons. It's quite beautiful. In fact, I'm in my office now. You can see behind me, and I look out the window to my right. I'm on the 10th floor, and I have a view of Mount Fuji from my office. So it's again a place where the seasons dictate life in many ways, and culturally that has been true from time immemorial. It's now the fall. We have the leaves are changing, and it's a beautiful time to be here in Japan. We also have a very rich culture in Japan. Japan, of course, is characterized by a rich contemporary popular culture, which takes the form of like postmodern culture. And you're familiar with, and you will probably, many of you are fans of anime and manga and other expressions of Japanese culture, J-pop. And so this is one important dimension, one very important feature of Japan is its contributions to world culture, and they take the form, of course, contemporary culture, but also traditional culture. And this is what drew me to Japan initially, was the traditional culture of Japan. And this combination of tradition and contemporary culture continues to draw the fascination of the world. In fact, we've had these past 2 years the greatest number of visitors to Japan in its history. The rich culture in conjunction with the very low cost compared to the strong US dollar means that we have a great number of visitors to Japan. And those who come do come to experience the rich traditional culture. And there are so many expressions of those in everyday life. We encounter both expressions of contemporary culture and also traditional culture. I want to focus on Tokyo for a minute because we're in Tokyo. In fact, Rikkyo University is right in the heart of Tokyo, and Tokyo is well, it's the biggest city in the world, to put it quite bluntly, largest city in the world, and depending on measurements, and one of the great cities of the world by any standards. And it's very accessible. As for a large city, it's easy to get around Tokyo, and this is a staggering number. Within Tokyo, the Tokyo municipality, there are 775 stations. That includes train stations and subway stations, and 65 separate lines. That's an enormous number, and it looks like spaghetti when you see it on the page here. But in fact, I had friends here recently, and after 2 days, with Google Maps, of course, to help, they were able to get around without any trouble. It's amazingly accessible, easy to get around, and so this again is not only a large city, but a city that's quite accessible. The trains are safe. They're extremely punctual. They were apologizing this morning because they were a minute late. And so it is an amazing system to get around and easy to get around in Tokyo. We are, by the way, I'll talk about this in a moment. You see this circle here, that's Ikebukuro, and that's the quadrant of the city that we're located in. It's one of the main hubs on the northwest side of the city, and that's where Rikkyo's main campus is. Ikebukuro is a very interesting place. Some of you have been to Japan before and have been to perhaps Ikebukuro. Again, has this combination of tradition and also very modern contemporary culture. The station's right in the middle. On the east side, we have then kind of expressions of animation. We have an animation center and other expressions of popular culture. And on the west side, where the university is located, we have this global. It's called the Global Ring, and we have a theater and concert hall right here, very close to the university. This small bus that looks like a ladybug called the Ike bus goes around and will bring visitors around this very rich area. I'd like now to turn I'm keeping my eye on the clock here, to introduce the university before we get into a description of the Peace Program. So Rikkyo University is one of the oldest and most prestigious universities in Japan, and I'm very happy to be here, to be teaching at this university. It has a history that's 150 years old, which by maybe Western standards would many universities go back that far, but in fact in Japan this makes us one of the oldest universities in Japan, one of the oldest universities in Tokyo. Started in 1874 started by a missionary you see on the right, who was an American, Jenny Moore, who in fact was associated with the Episcopalian Church, and it started in Tsukiji. You know, Tsukiji is where the fish market is, but moved in 1922, had firmly established here in Ikebukuro. So this campus goes back again well over 100 years, over 100 years as well. So it's the traditional architecture. You'll see in a moment, it's quite beautiful. So we have this long history that goes back 150 years and 100 years on this campus. But the Peace Program is new. We established the Peace Program and what's called the Nexus Program in 2022. The Global Liberal Arts Program, which I teach, was a little bit older. So that was established. We're in the 8th year now. So it's relatively new, our program, but we can see some results. We'll talk about the results, especially in my program, again, 8 years old, as in terms of the success of the program. We've been selected for the program started as a result of the Top Global University project by MEXT, the Ministry of Education. So we'll talk about that. Here's a couple of numbers to get started. We've been voted, rankings count. Obviously, you look at rankings. We've been ranked #1 for International Outlook by the World University Rankings in 2021 to 2025, 9th for the best private universities in Japan, and 5th for engagement among private universities, international engagement among private universities in Japan. As a result of this strong academic credentials and prestigious standing we attract good students, obviously, and we have an employment rate of 98%. That's for the whole university, not just for this program. We have a very high employment rate. That's the number of graduates who are employed at the time of graduation. About 20% of our faculty, by the way, are, like me, foreign born. couple of other numbers. It's a pretty good sized university. I think you'll be looking at different universities as you think about your career. About 20,000 students, among which over a thousand, a little over a thousand are foreign students. That includes matriculating students and exchange students. So a fairly substantial number. Certainly see the presence of foreign students on campus. We have a faculty student ratio about 1 to 8. We have nearly 270 partner institutions overseas. We'll talk about the overseas partners of the Peace Program. We have faculty and staff of 2,600, and in our library, about 2 million volumes. So it's, again, substantial numbers. We actually have two campuses. We're focusing on the traditional campus you can see in this photograph, Ikebukuro, Ivy League kind of look. It goes back again. This building is 1918, I believe this was built, so it goes back over 100 years. And that's our main campus. And a great majority of students study at Ikebukuro, including our Peace students. But we also have a campus in Niza, which is in Saitama, about 30 minutes door to door from Ikebukuro. And there are some programs there. Many of our athletic programs are there, and we have a great athletic center there. And it's just a smaller campus, but again, very connected to our Ikebukuro campus as well. There are some dormitories over in that area as well, so sometimes students will use the facilities there while taking classes here at Ikebukuro. I mentioned Ikebukuro a few times now, and I showed you an image earlier. Here's another one, and again, it's a major hub. When I say it's a major hub, there's 2.6 million people that go through the turnstiles of Ikebukuro Station every day. That makes it one of the most used stations in the world. So it is a major center, and again, there's really everything here. It's got a very rich international community, including one of the biggest Chinatowns in Japan. The Niza campus, smaller campus, again, 30 minutes. What's interesting, it's got great sports facilities. It was actually used by the Brazilian delegation during the 2020 Olympics, which, as you know, took place in 2021. So it's again accessible to our students. Our students enjoy a very rich life at Rikkyo. Student life is characterized by a number of different opportunities and activities, everything from equestrian to ballroom dancing, to all kinds of Japanese cultural events, and of course, community service. Many of our students are very involved in volunteering and other community service. So there's something for everybody, I think, for our students. They have a student fair at the beginning of each semester to sort of introduce the different activities that are available to students, including international students, of course. There's something additional that's really important for our international students, the Global Lounge. We have the Global Lounge in the building I'm in fact, is the same building where the international office is located. And we have then opportunities for cross-cultural experiences, for interaction with Japanese students, cultural events. They do trips, in fact, take trips, and of course, food is involved usually. So the Global Lounge, great place to study, to meet students, to chat. It's just a hub of international interaction on campus. We have one on the Niza campus as well, where again students will find opportunities to get together with Japanese students and international students get together for different activities. Now let me get into the discussion of the Peace program and the three programs under the aegis of Peace. What I can say in general about the three programs, each of them is conducted entirely in English. There's April enrollment and September enrollment. We'll talk about those two options in a moment. There's general admission, which we'll be talking about today. And also there's another recommendation admission as well. And keep in mind that the programs are all located on the main campus, the Ikebukuro campus. The other thing in general, the other feature is that class sizes tend to be small, about 15 students, maybe 12 to 15 seems to be the average number. Some are bigger. And then we have classes, I taught one yesterday with 4 students. So we have some very small classes as well. The average about 12 to 15. Study abroad opportunities are also an important feature of all three programs. If you were to come here, you'd be studying abroad in Japan, but you can also then study abroad elsewhere. And many of our students do that. So you can actually have a study abroad experience on top of a study abroad experience. We have nearly 270 international partnerships. And we'll talk about each of the programs has special relationships. We'll talk about that. So the three programs are Intercultural Communication for Global Leadership in the College of Intercultural Communications, the Global Program for the Department of International Business, in the College of Law and Politics, and the Global Liberal Arts program in which I teach, which is a standalone academic program. Let's talk about each of them a little bit. So the first one, intercultural communication for global leadership, fosters the ability to propose solutions for an increasingly complex society. And for this, the focus in this program is then on language acquisition, language, and cultural sensitivity, cultural exchange. There are actually four different concentrations in this program: language studies, translation, interpreting studies, communication studies, and global studies. And students are not confined to any one of these concentrations. They can take courses from among these four different concentrations, and they write a substantial graduation paper in their fourth year. Intercultural communication has a great array of study abroad opportunities. In fact, there are 47 direct study abroad partnerships around the world. If you want to find out more details, you can see the QR code here. It's also available on their website. The second program then, sorry, go ahead here, is the global program of the Department of International Business Law. It's a long name, but it's focused on international business law, entirely in English, and it hones students' legal knowledge and skills. They have three different, again, goals, objectives to help to conduct, how to conduct trade negotiations, how to resolve disputes from a legal perspective, and how to develop what they call a legal mindset that compares different aspects from different legal systems, a comparative legal approach. So this is, again, a program for those who are very interested in both law and international business, or the combination of those two. They have two very prestigious exchange opportunities with University of Oxford, needs no introduction, and Singapore Management University, one of the finest universities in Singapore. So there's more. Again, you can see the QR codes down below if you want more information about this program. Again, feel free to ask questions in the Q&A box, and we'll answer those questions as we go along. The final program is one in which I teach the Global Liberal Arts program, and this is a standalone program, and it again builds upon the long tradition of liberal arts at the university. Students take a liberal arts foundation, and they choose their major concentration actually in junior year after studying abroad, if they choose to study abroad. Peace students are not required, but they're welcome to study abroad. Business, citizenship, and humanities are the three majors from among which they choose. We have a very small student to faculty ratio, very low student to faculty ratio, very close advising in our program, and only 30 students each year. So it's a very small program. And we have nearly 30, again, study abroad partnerships. And students can also choose to apply to what we call the ACE program, very prestigious program. And we have spaces available for several students from our program. And this is in collaboration with the best universities in East Asia, Peking University, Seoul National University, and National University of Singapore. Students study abroad at two of those three locations in the course of an academic year. So there's much more about all of these programs. We have a QR code there as well. So please take a look. If you're interested in any of these programs, take a look at the websites as well. It's a lot of information I just couldn't get through today, the curriculum, etc. Let's talk a little bit about student and career support. We have an international office which provides support in terms of housing, scholarships. Students can just walk in. It's on the first floor of the building I'm in now, pictured here, and to ask questions about any of those things, or anything, in fact. So we have an office that's there always to meet the students' needs. We also have a Center for Japanese Language Education, again, for those who are enrolled in Japanese courses. And again, each program has different requirements in terms of Japanese, but they're all conducted entirely in English. But if students take Japanese, then there is a center that provides tutoring and other support services. We also have, of course, a health support clinic on campus. So right on campus, we have a clinic that students can walk in. There's English-speaking physician available if you need that. And also student counseling, the same thing is true. We have English-speaking counselors available for student needs. If you have a disability, recognized disability, you need support, of course, we have that support in place. And so, this is something that you would work with when you enter university to get the support you need inside the classroom and outside the classroom. Any disabilities, recognized disabilities, of course, we provide support. We also have then a career support. This is important because you're thinking always ahead, the next step about your career beyond university. So we have then career support, including job seminars, and personal one-on-one advising. And we have a job search seminar for international students seeking jobs both in Japan and abroad. And there's also internship opportunities. And one of them I just mentioned is called the overseas internship. And this is interesting because you can actually get an internship abroad and then get academic credits for it. I had a student several years ago who did an internship in New Zealand. It's very short term, usually during the breaks, during the school breaks. She got academic credits, great experience in New Zealand, and was able to parlay that into her current career. So this is a really amazing opportunity to do an internship abroad and get university credits. The program which I teach, GLAP, is now in its eighth year. So we have some employment and higher education, continuing education statistics to work with in my program, and now the Peace program again in its fourth year, starting to get to that point as well. So among the places our students are working, McKinsey and Company in Chicago, IBM Japan, Deloitte, Rakuten, Ernst& Young in New York, ANA, Toyota. Of course, these names speak for themselves. Really amazing job opportunities. And in higher education, many of our students are now going on to graduate degrees. And you can see the names here, some very impressive universities: London School of Economics, Stanford, Edinburgh, Tokyo, Seoul National University. And we also have students, those are the places our students are attending, but our students have been accepted to Harvard, Oxford as well. So we seem to have, our name seems to register when students are applying for higher education for their master's or PhD degrees. Some students are also working, I should mention self-employment. Some choose to do that. We have several students who are starting their own companies now as well. This is a very important dimension. I want to spend a few minutes talking about costs and scholarships. As you're hearing from all of the speakers, the cost of an education in Japan is considerably lower than the United States, where I taught for many years, and other Western nations. For example, intercultural communication, and this is a private university, a very prestigious private university, as I mentioned earlier. In the intercultural communication for global leadership, the cost per year for tuition is about $8,000. The cost for Global Program Department of International Business Law at $8,500. And my program is a little more expensive simply because we have such small numbers and it's a self-contained program. But then even there, it's like, again, depending, this is a 150 yen to $1 ratio. Less than $13,000. And I taught in the United States, and my daughters went to school in the United States, and you know that it's much, much more expensive. Maybe this is about a third of what it would cost in the States. So that's great. And then also there's an admission fee. You can see the cost down below. And that's every university has that, of course. And housing is also very inexpensive, considering this is Tokyo after all. Anywhere from a little less than $500 to about $850. So quite inexpensive to study here, to live here as well. The news gets better. We have scholarships available for students as well, for students from entering the Peace program. We have the Rikkyo Promising Future Scholarship, a very generous scholarship open to 10 students that would provide for April enrollment for those who decide to come in April, about a little less than $7,000, and for those who enroll in September, $10,000. And this pays essentially for the cost of tuition, and that's for 3 semesters. If you enroll in September, it's actually for the first 3 semesters. Thereafter, if you maintain a strong GPA, or if you do not receive one of those, you can, as long as you have a good academic record, we have 30 recipients available for the Rikkyo Exceptional Student Scholarship. Again, there's 5 students who receive the rate of 800,000 yen, and another 25 receive 600,000 yen. For both of these scholarships, I should have mentioned, for the general rule, they cannot be combined with other scholarships, and they're not available to those with the Japanese nationality. So that's something to keep in mind. This is really for our international students. That's something worth mentioning. Let me talk finally about the admission and requirements and the schedule, because this, of course, is very critical information. We are not test optional. You have to take a test to get to for entry into the program, and we ask for the normal tests. You guys probably have done these before. We have the SAT and ACT. For those entering our program, have to have an SAT score of 1170 with an English section of 600 or higher. ACT score of 24, again, English section 25. But if you want to be considered for the scholarship, then the SAT score would be 1250, English score section 600, ACT 26, English section 25. So just keep that in mind. These are again, you're applying to other schools in the States, for example, many schools will require numbers similar to this. And again, keep in mind the scholarship numbers are slightly higher. This is critical information as well. This is the the dates for admission. I assume most of you would be applying for September admission, but if those of you are like ready to go for April, if you want to apply for the April admission, keep in mind if you're seniors now and you plan to apply for April admission, the date is coming up. So it's November 27th. So that would be coming up very shortly. If you do decide to apply for admission in April, which is, of course, the beginning of the academic year in Japan, then you would be notified January 16th, and you can see the other dates below. The actual enrollment would be April 1st. For those, I imagine most of you would be applying for September admission. Then you have a little more time. The deadline for the application, and it's all done online, by the way. The application is all available online. The deadline is February 2nd. And so that would be, again, early next year, February 2nd. And then you would be notified March 6th. And you would know whether you got in. And also, I think scholarship information is also shared at that time. So these are the dates we have for the coming year. Some of you might not be ready there. You might be sophomores or freshmen even. The dates generally are about that time. So just keep these dates in mind. Again, all available on the website. And I'll share that with you in just a moment. These are two QR codes that might be that you might want to check out. First is the Rikkyo University official account, so you can check that out. And then the second one on the right there is for the Peace Program. You can find more information about the Peace Program there. I think there's some questions that are coming up, so I want to turn to that. There's an email here below, the old-fashioned email system. If you want to email us with any questions that you have, by all means. Each of these programs has a website, so by all means also look at the websites for each of these Peace programs. Thank you very much. It's been great to share this information. I'm going to just look at one or two of the questions. And keep in mind, you can continue to ask questions. We do hope you'll continue to ask questions because both Professor Liu and Jason are here to answer those questions. Let me just look at what we have here. Can I transfer from a community college? You can certainly, what you can do, oh, it's okay, type in answer. The answer might be in place. Yeah, so let's answer that. IB, we certainly have a great number of students who participate in IB programs, and it is of course, a program that really prepares you for academics. So I would say that IB is an excellent background. Many of our students have done that, and I'll let, again, Jason and Professor Liu talk about how that parlays into the actual program. Looks like there says the files on the website require passwords, so maybe that might be something that's, again, Professor Liu and Jason could supply you with. There is quite a bit about the Peace Program online, but there might be some documents then that you need to access about that. In terms of the GI Bill outlets, again, I don't know much about that in terms of Japan and in terms of Rikkyo's policy. So I'll again turn to that. I think we're just about finishing up now. I want to thank you again for your attention. There's, again, ask questions now for sure. And if you don't have questions at the moment, but you think of some later, I shared the email earlier. Please, by all means, and they'll share this as well. Please, by all means, ask us questions at any point. I thank you very much again for your attention.